And Young Buzz. Today, we're talking about something that honestly feels so perfect it almost hurts. Stray Kids as movie characters. And no, this isn't just some random fan game. This is one of those topics where you read the comparisons and your brain immediately goes, wait, why does this make so much sense? Because Stray Kids have such strong, distinct personalities. They're not just idols performing on stage. Each member carries a very specific energy, almost like they walk straight out of a film universe. So when fans started assigning them iconic movie roles, it didn't feel forced. It felt weirdly accurate. And I want this video to be more than just listing comparisons. I want us to actually talk about why these roles work, why fans see them this way, and whether you agree or completely disagree. Because I already know some of you are going to have very strong opinions. Let's start with the obvious one. Bang Chan as Steve Rogers from Captain America. This comparison almost feels illegal because of how accurate it is. Steve Rogers is the definition of selfless leadership. He protects his team, carries responsibility like it's oxygen, and constantly puts others before himself. And if you followed Bang Chan for more than 5 minutes, you know this is basically his entire personality. Bang Chan isn't just the leader in a title sense. He radiates responsibility. The way he speaks about the members, the way he supports them, the way he absorbs pressure without showing cracks, that's classic hero leader energy. But here's something interesting. Steve Rogers is often portrayed as this morally perfect character, almost too good. Bang Chan, however, feels more human. He's warm, goofy, chaotic at times, and that actually makes him even more compelling. Personally, I think Bang Chan is like Steve Rogers if Steve Rogers also produced music at 3 a.m., stressed about Wi-Fi, and occasionally became the biggest meme in the room. But I want to ask you something. Do you see Bang Chan as the classic heroic leader? Or do you think there's another character that fits him better? Because I've seen some fans argue he has Tony Stark brain energy, and honestly, I can see that too. Next, Lee No as Loki. This one is so dangerously accurate, it's actually funny. Loki is witty, unpredictable, sharp-tongued, and constantly walking that line between menace and affection. Sound familiar? Lee No has that same duality. On one hand, he can be savage, sarcastic, and absolutely ruthless with his humor. On the other hand, he's deeply caring, quietly affectionate, and incredibly soft in ways you only notice if you pay attention. That contrast is exactly why the Loki comparison works. Loki isn't just the villain, he's complex. He teases, provokes, causes chaos, but there's always that underlying layer of emotion. And Lee No, he thrives in that same energy. What I love about this comparison is that Loki's charm is part of his power. He doesn't need brute force. He uses wit, timing, and psychological precision. That is peak Lee No behavior. But let's be real for a second. Lee No's version of Loki would absolutely bully Thor for fun and then secretly feed him snacks. Do you agree with Loki? Or do you think Lee No fits a different archetype? Because I've also seen fans say he's more like a mysterious anti-hero rather than a trickster, and I'm curious where you stand. Now we move to Changbin as Maui from Moana. This one is just chef's kiss. Maui is physically strong, loud, confident, larger than life, and yet, heart of gold. That description could literally be Changbin's official biography. Changbin has that explosive presence. He's intense, energetic, bold, but beneath all of that power is someone incredibly warm and supportive. What makes this comparison so good is that Maui isn't just comic relief. He's powerful, complex, and deeply emotional when you peel back the layers. Changbin is exactly the same. People often focus on Changbin's loudness, his powerful rap style, his high-energy personality. But if you watch closely, you see someone deeply thoughtful, sensitive, and fiercely loyal. Also, can we talk about the confidence factor? Maui walks around like he owns the ocean. Changbin walks around like he owns every beat he touches. But here's my hot take. Changbin feels like Maui, yes, but with even more emotional intelligence. And I don't say that lightly. Do you see Maui too? Or do you think Changbin matches a different powerhouse character? Let's talk about Hyunjin as Howl from Howl's Moving Castle. This one almost feels unfair because it's so visually and emotionally perfect. Howl is artistic, dramatic, beautiful, emotionally expressive, and deeply passionate. Hyunjin practically lives in that aesthetic universe. Hyunjin has this cinematic presence. The way he moves, the way he expresses emotion through performance, the way he embodies drama, it's pure main character energy. Howl is known for being both elegant and chaotic, graceful yet emotionally intense. That duality fits Hyunjin so well, it's almost suspicious. What fascinates me about this comparison is the vulnerability factor. Howl isn't just stylish and dramatic. He's deeply emotional, sometimes fragile, sometimes overwhelmed by his own feelings. Hyunjin carries that same intensity, and honestly, that's what makes him so captivating. But I want to know your opinion. Is Hyunjin more Howl, or do you think there's another artistic character that represents him better? Next, Han as Peter Parker from Spider-Man. This comparison is dangerously cute. Peter Parker is clever, chaotic, fast-thinking, slightly overwhelmed by life, and incredibly endearing. Han's entire existence feels like that description. Han has that brilliant brain energy mixed with absolute chaos. He's witty, creative, hilarious, and somehow always feels like he's thinking at 200% speed. Peter Parker's charm comes from his relatability. He's smart but awkward, confident but flustered, heroic but still human. Han has that exact same balance. What I love most about this comparison is the humor aspect. Peter Parker's nervous, rapid-fire humor, that's Han-coded behavior. But here's something interesting. Peter Parker carries hidden depth beneath the jokes. Han does too. Behind the laughter is someone deeply introspective and emotionally rich. Do you see Peter Parker too? Or is Han giving you different chaotic genius vibes? Now Felix as Legolas. This one feels almost poetic. Legolas is ethereal, graceful, gentle in presence, yet incredibly intense and powerful when needed. Felix embodies that energy beautifully. Felix has this soft, luminous aura. There's something almost unreal about his presence. But then you see his stage intensity, his deep voice, his sharp performance power, and the contrast hits. That's Legolas energy. Elegant, gentle, but absolutely lethal when the moment demands it. Felix's personality also carries warmth and kindness, which makes the comparison even stronger. Legolas isn't just visually striking. He's loyal, composed, and quietly strong. But let me throw a question at you. Is Felix less, or is Felix actually some other fantasy character we haven't fully acknowledged yet? Let's move to Seungmin as Hermione Granger. This one is brutally accurate. Hermione Granger is smart, sarcastic, logical, reliable, and often the real backbone holding everything together. That is peak Seungmin energy. Seungmin has that sharp intelligence mixed with dry humor. He's composed, observant, and constantly radiates competence. What makes this comparison so good is that Hermione isn't just the smart one. She's strong, emotionally grounded, and often the voice of reason. Seungmin carries that same stabilizing energy. Also, let's be honest, Seungmin absolutely has Hermione-level sarcasm capabilities. Do you agree with Hermione, or do you see Seungmin differently? Finally, IN as Simba from The Lion King. This one feels emotional. Simba represents growth, innocence evolving into strength, the beloved youngest discovering his power. That narrative fits IN so well, it almost feels symbolic. Watching IN grow over the years has been like watching a coming-of-age story unfold in real time. He still carries that adorable Maknae energy, but there's increasing confidence, maturity, and presence. Simba energy, beloved, bright, and steadily stepping into his own power. And I think this comparison hits differently because it reflects something very real: growth. I want to hear from you. Which comparison feels the most accurate? Which one do you completely disagree with? And if you could assign different movie characters to the members, who would you choose? Because honestly, this is one of those topics where there are no wrong answers, only very passionate debates. And those debates are exactly what makes fandom fun.